Welcome to Battle of the Remakes. We're going to be talking about Total Recall 1990 versus 2012 right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my first episode of Remake Battle. So we're going to be talking about Total Recall from 1990 and 2012. Both directed by different people, of course, and starring different people, and with a similar storyline. But we'll get into that in a second. In the meantime, give me a like and a subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel out, so make sure you give me that thumbs up and ring that bell. I am an award-winning screenwriter myself, and I also am a novelist and a comic book writer. I also do the occasional board game, which is actually one of them right here. We are running on Backer Kit right now. I am running this with Mark Spears, who did artwork for all of this. And he does a lot of comic art, but this is a card game featuring the classic monsters. So you can play as the classic monsters, and everything that you need is in the box, so you don't have to collect anything else if you don't want to. And the description below has the link in it, and we have 9 days left as of today, so it'll be probably 8 tomorrow when this actually comes out. So jump on that, and there's free stuff happening with that, so don't forget to jump in. So we'll talk about that a little at the end, but let's jump into Total Recall. So again, we have the 1990 version that had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. And then we had Colin Farrell picking up the role in 2012. And the storyline is about a guy that's not really happy with his life. So with the Colin Farrell one, he's a little bit more down and out. Where I would say that the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, they don't have good jobs. Neither one of them has good jobs, very mundane jobs. But I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is a little bit better off than how it is with Colin Farrell and his version. But anyway, since they're unhappy with their lives, they're having dreams. Both of them are having dreams where they are with another woman that's not his wife, and they're being shot at, and they're in dangerous situations. And then he constantly wakes up and in a sweat, and then his wife that are both named Lori on both sides. She consoles him, but finally he goes to a place called Recall because he wants this fantasy to actually be implanted in his mind as memories. They both want to go to Mars, but in the Colin Farrell one, that never happens. there's no Mars in there, but in the Arnold Schwarzenegger, it takes place a lot on Mars. But when they go to Recall to have these memories implanted, something goes wrong with their mind, and it ends up unlocking things where he finds out he really is a spy, and his memories have been depressed or compressed into another portion of his mind, so he can't remember anything. So now he has a whole other double life that he's learning, and he's finding out that he has the ability to change things on the planet, and he ends up running into the woman that is in his dreams. And that's basically both the storyline of both movies, except they're a little bit different. So I'm surprised that they kept the Laurie name, because in all the others, in the other names is different. But the original 1990 was directed by Paul Verhoeven, Verhoeven, however you say that. But anyway, he did a pile of movies. So he did RoboCop, he did Hollow Man, he did Starship Troopers, he did Showgirls. We won't hold that against him. So he just did a pile of movies that are well remembered. He also did a movie called Black Book, which is a German film. I love that movie, but it is not in English. It's a movie that is translated. And then, of course, we have Len Wiseman directing The Other Side. He was married to Kate Beckinsale, so Kate Beckinsale plays the villain in here, or the wife, where Sharon Stone plays in the other version. He's also a producer. I did meet with him. Well, I met with his group, not particularly him, at his offices. And so he did all the Underworlds. He wrote and produced those. Then he did Lucifer. He did The Gifted. So he did a lot of stuff on television after that. He did Swamp Thing. So yeah, he's both of them are very well accomplished filmmakers. And they got big name stars at the time. So we have here's the differences of what I like on each one. So let's start with Schwarzenegger's in 1990. What I like about that one, and I want to talk about Michael Ironside. So Michael Ironside is always plays a great villain, and I loved him since Scanners as well. And then you have so he plays one of the villains, and then Ronnie Cox, who is also from RoboCop. He plays the villain, I think, on both of them. So he's running Mars, and has control over the air and everything. So he's basically almost like a dictator, and they want to free Mars from his tyrannical rule. And then Sharon Stone playing the wife. So in 1990, you didn't have the choreography that you have today. You don't have the special effects that you have today. So they're working with a lot of practical effects. They tried to use technology to a certain extent, but in 1990, it is what it is. But Len Wiseman took it, and they both have good world building, but the world building is completely different on each side. So Paul Van Oven there, he wanted to create Mars, so his world building is on the Mars side, where Len Wiseman's world building. So there was like a chemical warfare that wiped out a whole bunch, a whole continents. So you only had like Britain and part of Europe that were left. I guess the Americas was completely wiped out, and you had Australia that was called the colony. And and then the reason being is that there's a straight line through the planet to two of them, where it wouldn't be to America, I guess. So he needed this to create this thing called the fall, where you were working in the colony, but which is basically what Mars is in the Schwarzenegger version. And then they had this transport that went through the core of the planet and up into Britain, where everybody lived. So the world building is huge on that. I think that the world building on the Len Wiseman side was actually more uh, detailed than the one that's in Schwarzenegger. So, but I do like Mars as well, where we don't get to see too much of Mars, but they do end up going out in you know suits, environmental suits, so that they can walk around on Mars and stuff like that. I would say that the acting generally is better in the Len Wiseman, Colin Farrell one. However, what you don't get in the Len Wiseman one is the creatures, right? You don't get these mutants. And what they did with the main guy, and Matthias. So Matthias is he's just a human in the Len Wiseman one. However, in the Schwarzenegger version, they can't find him because he's actually part of someone else. There's actually another creature on the chest of this other guy. And I thought that was really, really original. And but anyway, they end up finding him and then killing them. So Matthias gets killed on either side, on either one. So I thought that was really interesting. And then we have Benny, who has multiple arms, and we get to see this whole thing. And then you have the Johnny Cab. So, but the cars all have wheels on them. In the 1990 version, of course, uh, Star Wars was the only one that did floating cars, and that was in 1977. But nobody really ever did it since. Now, in the Len Wiseman one, there's floating cars all over the place. They have a whole car chase with the floating cars and what they do with them, how they go on and off the ramps, and there's multiple levels. The choreography of that scene is out of this world. I mean, the planning that they must have done for the effects to make all that work with them in the car and out the car and on top of the car, incredible. So there isn't really anything like that in the. It's like I would say that the Len Wiseman one is more high octane, right? So everything's a lot faster in the Len Wiseman version than it is, of course, in the uh, the Schwarzenegger version because they really couldn't do that. So everything with the guns and everything like that, the squib work on the Schwarzenegger one is incredible. I mean, they were blowing holes. I mean, all those squibs are crazy. And what a squib is, it's like a small detonation that you put on the actor or stuntman, and it doesn't blow inside; it blows out. So it just like attaches and it blows out. And you could put blood on it or whatever else, so you can. So it looks like blood. But anyway, it's a small charge, and but in this case, the holes were like this big, man. It was crazy. They did do holograms in that, which they did not do in the Len Wiseman version. They did do the head, the fake head, but in one it's a hologram, and the other one it's an actual mask that comes in and out. And I would say that in the Schwarzenegger version, it was a lot better. Uh, Not the effects. The effects aren't nearly as good. You could tell that, of course, the head was sculpted, and even Schwarzenegger's head is sculpted because he's just like this, and then it comes up. But it looks extremely fake in the Schwarzenegger version. However, I like the whole delivery and everything like that. The whole execution of that scene is a lot better in the Schwarzenegger version. So the technology, and then what I liked in the technology for Len Weissman's was that he had these phones that were they're surgically implanted in your hand, and if you put your hand to glass, it would project. So it would be FaceTime, but it doesn't. There's no hologram for FaceTime. It's literally on a piece of glass. I thought that was really interesting. And then they had a lot of robots. So where in the Len Weissman or in the Schwarzenegger one, there was no robots. They had physical human being soldiers. Where everything in the Len Weissman one was all was robots, and I thought the robots looked great. And when I went to his office, they had a full size one. They also had a full size werewolf from Underworld as well. So it's pretty cool. Bryan Cranston was playing Cohagen, and the Douglas Quaid. That's the name on both of them. Both Colin Farrell and Arnold Schwarzenegger's character named the same. So Bryan Cranston, who from Breaking Bad, plays. So they had. I mean, the actors that he had to play with are top-notch actors. He also had Bokeem Woodbine, which I really like. As I said, Kate Beckinsale, and he also had Jessica Biel as well. So he had, so let's talk about Jessica Biel for a second. So Jessica Biel is Melina. So she plays this. The name is the same on both, but Rachel Totonkin, I always get her name messed up. Dakotan. She was really hot in the 90s. I mean, both of them, obviously Jessica Biel's hot too. But Rachel had more of a exotic look. She was a little Spanish. I think that Jessica Biel was able to pull the soldier part a little bit better. And the hand-to-hand fight. So you had Kate Beckinsale took over the Richter role, right? So she was a combo between Sharon Stone and Michael Ironside. And Kate Beckinsale, I think, knocked out of the park as being the villain. I mean, she did a great job as being the villain. She was almost very Terminator-ish, where she just kept coming. So when you had that battle between Jessica Biel and Kate Beckinsale, it had to be balls to the wall because you had two women that were supposedly very well trained. So, and that scene in the elevator is phenomenal. Another scene that was so well choreographed with all the instead of the elevators going up and down, they go side to side. They go all over the place. So they're constantly dodging these cars from the elevators, and Kate Beckinsale is literally fighting hand to hand with Jessica Biel in the same car or in the same elevator car that Colin Farrell is fighting against a robot. So he can't even help her. So so it's really intense and good and fast. And the fight scene between uh, you know Sharon Stone and Melina, Rachel's Melina, not nearly as good. Not nearly as good. And also, when you have the fight scene with where Melina first or Laurie first reveals herself as being an agent in both of them. First of all, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the bathroom. He comes out of the bathroom. He doesn't even know who's about to that somebody's about to shoot at him, and Sharon Stone misses. I don't know how she misses, but she misses, and he grabs her in the dark and then realizes it's her. And then they have a fight, and it's really funny because, of course, Schwarzenegger is huge against Sharon Stone. He literally picks her up and throws her across the room at one point, where she cuts him a few times with a knife. But I think that scene is pretty good. I would say that both scenes are equally good because I mean Sharon Stone is kicking and all this other stuff, and she can't hold a candle to, of course, Schwarzenegger. So it's a little bit uneven. Where Colin Farrell is basically the same height as Kate Beckinsale, so it was a little bit more even there. But she does this one thing where she slides across a thing and ends up on top of him, punching him. I'm like, that's pretty amazing. So I like both of them for different reasons, but Colin Farrell was not going to be able to throw Kate Beckinsale across the room like Schwarzenegger for Sharon Stone. Anyway, good stuff. All good stuff on both sides of that coin. Anyway, each movie just has their own things. Each movie is good in their own right. And the ending, I would say that the actual ending for Schwarzenegger's is actually a little better because we have the whole scene at the end of on Mars where they're choking and we have these really bad. There's no CGI, so they have casts of their faces with their eyes bulging out because they're suffocating until the air comes back into Mars and they're able to breathe again. Where in uh, the ending of the Len Weissman version or the Colin Farrell version, we have this whole battle on the fall, and it's great because they said that what was the Inception with the lack of gravity. Len Weissman already did that in Total Recall because when you pass along the core, gravity shifts from one side to the other. So in the middle, when they're going through the core, there's no gravity at all. So everything's just weightless. And I thought that was a really good idea. So we have a certain amount of time. We know that there's a certain amount of time before gravity reinstalls, but on the opposite side. And so we have that whole battle going on, which I think is also really good. It's also a really good battle. But the ending is, Laurie kind of turning up again like in like on a horror movie. You just won't die. Where we have the whole ending on in Mars, I think is a little better than the fall. Only because it's a little more exotic, and we have is our hero gonna make it? And then at the end, we're kind of left with, is it real? Is it not real? Belmus like Inception like. We kind of hope it is because we want the character to have a happy ending. So that I think that's it for me. I don't think I have anything more to talk about. But again, they're both good. They're just a little bit different from one another, and I think that both directors put a lot of work into their world building, which I greatly appreciate. And I heavily like the Schwarzenegger one, of course, is dated at this point. It's still entertaining, but it's dated because of the effects and for the technology and all that stuff. Where I think that the one for Les Wiseman, that really still holds up, even though it was 2012. It still holds up now, 12 years later, because we haven't gotten to that point of technology yet. But I think it's coming. But definitely check that out, because seeing the world he's created and how the cars move and everything like that is really good. And the robots with the thing on their all the readouts on their faceplate and everything like that is just really good. Anyway, check them both out. They're both good. And let me know what you guys think. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And remember to give me that thumbs up, give me that like, give me that subscribe, rug that bell, ding ding, help me blow up this channel a bit more. And remember that classic monsters from Myth Lords is on backer kit right now. The description below, click that link in there, and it'll take you right there. You can check out some videos. There's plenty of videos on there. It's only a $35 game, so it's not expensive. I will be raising the price on that after it ends. Plus, we've got a 5th player. And you can also play as Dracula, Frankenstein, etc. And you can also play other characters. You have the Bride of Frankenstein, the Mummy, etc. They're all in here. Comes with a couple hundred cards. And then if you want an expansion, we also have Oz, where you can now also play as Dorothy, the Wicked Witch, and then you have other characters as well, like the other witches and Glenda and Glinda, not Glenda, and Toto 2, and of course the Cowardly Lion and Scarecrow, Tin Man, all that stuff. All right, thank you guys again so much for watching. Check out some of my other videos as well, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye-bye.